Okay. So we're going. It's recording? Yeah, okay. Um, I just am covering transforms, which I think we've already been through some examples of what they can do. And so I just tried to keep it really basic again. Uh, and so I pulled a little information from W3 because that's what I find easiest to follow and most helpful. Um, and it just defines the transform property, applies to a 2D or 3D transformation, applies to an element, and it allows you to rotate, scale, move, skew, etc. Um, and so from what I can see, I'll show you guys what I submitted. Um, and it was a pretty simple use of it. I used it in like a card flip, but there's lots of different ways to kind of make just things look more appealing on your web page. And so I covered just some of the more basic values that are used. Rotate is one that I've used in a couple of my codes. And I guess the most common are like the scale or the skew X and skew Y. But at W3 schools, there was like a more extensive list of all the different ones. I've only used it a few times. And so I wasn't familiar with what all of them do exactly, but I brought these on just because they're some of the more commonly used. And then I just have a simple example. This is also from W3. This was the code that it showed, and this uses the transform rotate, and this is what the box looked like whenever this transform was applied to it. And this just is once again for the browser support. And it even tells, which one is what it's for. The WebKit, the Safari one, just to assure that it's going to work in the different browsers. And so, yeah, that's pretty much what I have on that. And these are the links that I used to actually like build some of my stuff. And I think this one, the CSS tricks, was probably one of my favorite because it really broke everything down separately and made it easier to understand. So I'm going to now share my code. I think I have it up here. Okay, are you guys seeing Transforms animation example?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And I did this one a while back, so I had trouble finding my original files that I was working on it in Atom, and I couldn't seem to locate my original file, so I selected to view the source and stuff, and so I'll click in between and we'll kind of look at that. But this is how they work, and here it has like song titles. I'm pointing, like you can see me. It has song titles on the cards, and then when you hover over it, it tells you what band or artist, musician wrote the song.
So sorry.
Go ahead.
So I was going to ask, when you do the flip, do you just at what point do you change the text?
Well, see, that was the interesting part. Is in the code, there's actually two different cards, and so it really just appears to flip. It doesn't really change. It changes from one card to the next.
Okay.
So, can y'all see the style, the code? Or I mean, not the style, the code. It has the div, and here you can see there's a front and back for each card, and these are the texts. It shows the text that will appear on each one.
Yeah.
So in the actual style, I did it in a separate file for this one. What it does is I have them basically positioned to where they're overlapping, but the back panel is set down here. Where is it? It's the transform is used to rotate the back panel to a 90-degree angle so that it's not visible.
Okay.
So it's there, but like if you change the 90-degree to like 80, you'll just see like a little line and so on until it's fully visible. So that's where I use transform in this example. And then down at the bottom, there's an animation added on a hover effect. And the animation is twirl, and it kind of gives the specs of what each one, the front or back, should do when the keyframe sort of activates the twirl animation. And that's where it sort of brings that back panel in and draws the front one to the back. So it's not really flipping, it just, the way that it transitions in it looks like a flip, but it's really just bringing the front one to the 90 degrees so that it's not visible, and bringing the back one to visibility.
Cool.
So you're not doing any of this with JavaScript. This is just CSS, right?
Yeah, this was just CSS.
Okay.
Now I do have some that I did, if you wanted to see something with JavaScript for another assignment. I believe it was this one. And this is all in one file. I didn't separate the code this time. My script and everything is right in here. So if I go to view the source, see where. Trying to think of, I know one of them was a transform. Oh, okay, it's the transform rotate again, and it's for these, the lights. Oh, the transform actually itself is not activated with JavaScript. The rest of my stuff is. But this is just to move, to kind of turn the little animations here so that they're not just straight. And originally, I think there was like a Christmas light thing that was going on with it, and I just kind of played around with it and changed it. But okay, this is the JavaScript comes into, I think it's what gives the box that you can click, it gives it different colors. You can change the background here, and then the record that's spinning is set on a JavaScript, like a looper sort of thing, and it's just an image that's put in, and then it's set to do this spin that also works on the transform rotate. So that actually uses it. Down here, you can see the function. It's actually got the style transform rotate like written into the function to spin the record.
And then you just load that on page load, right? Because I see your script tag at the bottom. So just when the page loads, it rotates.
Yeah, it'll just do it when the page loads, and you could change that to, on click or whatever you want it to do. And I think, let's see, that was pretty much it as far as what I had. Were there questions about that? Is anybody still stuck on any transform stuff that they haven't been able to work through?
Once I started using the transitions, it became a lot easier because you can set like the timers for stuff, and I don't even know why. Like, I don't know. It seems like that simplifies so many things instead of having like a whole function set up to produce an animation.
Yeah. I
But
agree.
with the lights that you had, how did you, I guess, is that like something like an image that you copied in, or was that just like a line that was rotated that you changed the styling on?
It's like a shape that was created. Let me see if it's still on here. Is this?
Is it just a div, the background color?
Well, not even the background color, but the actual lights themselves.
Like the way that they're glowing, it's using like a box shadow and then an animation to sort of change the border to make it appear like it's glowing.
Okay.
But yeah, I think they're each set up like it is set up in a div, the lights themselves, and then it's just I just changed like the dimensions of the shape. The dot bar is my the actual light itself, or the lights themselves, and I set up down here how many will be there.
Mm-hmm.
So like I set 73 because I think when I opened my page completely, it just went all across like in one straight line. Like I don't have it fully open, so it's got some on the bottom. But you can change that to whatever. And I changed like the width and height and stuff to change the shape, because they started out as just blocks. That's what I started with, or just squares. And then I just kept playing around until I got different shapes. And that's there's an odd and an even setup for the box shadow and the animation pulse that gives it the glowing effect, so that like it'll kind of go back and forth to where they're not just glowing all together. It kind of gives that sort of like the glimmering effect. You can see one to the other, and it's just kind of the box that's around it, like the kind of like a border that's sort of giving it that glow effect.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Yeah. Okie dokie. So this is all on my page too. Just to, if anyone needed to go back and look at it. Were there any other questions?
Nope.
Okay. I guess we haven't heard from Leslie.
Yep.
Yeah, I think if he was coming, he would have said something.
Yep.
Did we want to showcase anything in our code, or any like open questions for any topics anyone's still working on?
Well, I have on my animations, I can show you guys what I did, and I can't figure out what I did wrong. So if you guys want to take a look at it and see, let me put it up here.
I'd love to see what everybody's doing too, if we have time. See some of it, because I think it's good to get ideas from people.
Right.
Especially as we have to go build our app or whatever project soon.
All right, so let me share my screen here. Okay, so this is my animation. It's, like I said, pretty bare bones. It's nothing, but it's supposed to be a star. It's not supposed to just be an arrow.
Well, it looks cool.
And I was just like, I got tired of fighting with it, but what it's supposed to do is this. I mean, it just ends up going off somewhere totally different. I mean, it skews the whole thing. And so I just ended up oops.
You did it on Rotate Z?
Yeah. Because, I mean, just to get it to all, it's 3 different shapes. There are 3 different triangles in order to make a star. And so the way that I had it, I had the star image made. And then once I added in the animation, it just broke it up and started doing that.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's all supposed to be 1 star.
Yeah, it's all supposed to be 1 star. And it's all supposed to transition, like the colors are supposed to transition together. And they're on 2 completely different playing fields right now. So I just eliminated it and just left it as the arrow. So I don't know. I mean, there's not a whole lot to my code.
Can you scroll down? Can I just see your...
I don't know how far you want me to scroll.
Yeah, I just wanted to see your before and your after.
They're all pretty much the same, except for the rotate Z, I think is the only thing that differs.
Right, just because you have to mirror it, so you just have them.
Right. So
do you want to
I tried, playing around. Well, I don't know. I wasn't sure if somebody else had an experience like that they had some, I turned it in just like that. It's good enough for me to, pass, try to pass it off. So
is each triangle of the star class, or they have different classes?
They're all of the star class.
So you're trying to essentially rotate them differently depending on like individual classes, like that star, and then hashtag whatever their ID name is.
Right. Well,
because when you have all of them moving to the same exact location, when you like go down to your animation, that's probably why because they wouldn't be when they're rotated, they wouldn't be at the same location.
Well, they're all under the same animation name.
Uh-huh.
So I thought, once I had the actual star made, it was all under the same animation name. And then once I plugged in this animation, it just broke it up.
Which one did you plug in? Can you copy it and paste it back in the star? Whatever you had there.
So and I don't know I've messed with it so much. I don't have it aligned back up yet.
Okay, just a second. Hold on. So you have color transparent.
That was for my
position absolute. That's always
transparent. Then it just turns into a block.
Right. So you're just using it with the borders and make it as your star.
Yeah. So,
but at one point you had it looking like a star?
Yeah, at one point it did look like a star. I think this was... I don't remember what my numbers were.
We don't want you to mess it up. Yeah, it's tricky, and I think it does have to do somewhat with that. It's just the positioning on the page, and I think absolute positioning is tricky.
Yeah,
I did something. Well, I could never get mine to work. I was trying to create a cloud, which also worked with putting the three shapes together into one.
Yeah,
and the first one I had, like I said, I never was able to get it to move. I couldn't get my animation to work. But the first one, I had it set to relative, and that was in a tutorial that I was watching. So the first one position was relative, and the second, like the before and after, were absolute. I don't know.
I'll have to try that.
If maybe that would help.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I ended up giving up on it and doing something different because I tried for like 2 or 3 days to get it. I just wanted a little cloud moving back and forth. It was going to go with the lights and be rain, but
yeah,
the one where I put the record in place of it.
Yeah, and that's the point that I'm at right now, where I'm just like, I don't have the time to be, just spending on this. So I'm just not. It's basic right now, so I'll just turn it in. If I get a 6, I'm fine.
Have y'all taken CIT 230?
Yeah, but I took that like 2 semesters ago. So
yeah, that's the thing I don't love about CSS that drives me bananas. Is like it just is a time drain. You're like layout. Oh my gosh, I put like border, like dashed borders around everything I do. That's just like the first thing that I do, so I can see where everything is because it drives me nuts. It's like okay, great. Anyway, but it helps because that's
a good idea actually.
Yeah, it's safe. That's the only thing that's like safe. I'm going nuts.
So that's the only thing that I'm struggling with. So I mean, I have yet to do the transforms and the transitions. So
okay, y'all, I've got to go. I'm sorry. I just got a text from some family. Oh. Are you okay if I stop this recording?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Okay. Bye-bye.
All right.